This guy is the Eachine H8-3D. It's a good little indoor-outdoor 3D quad. This is the review and mods for it. This guy is $19 off of Banggood. They have a similar version that is smaller. It's the size of an H8 Mini that is $16. This is 2.4 gigahertz, has six axis gyro. It comes with 220 milliamp one cell batteries. I fly it with these 260s. You get a couple extra minutes of flight time. You can also fly this with the 380s that are made for Hubsan. They will fit in the battery compartment with no problem. The remote itself has two AA batteries that you need to install. Has standard controls. This button is for your rates. It has 3 rates. This button is for your flips. You can flip either 180 degrees or 360 degrees. This button controls the flip as far as 180 or 360. The nice thing about this is that when it flips, the controls are not inverted. For instance, if you flip forward, it will flip 180 degrees. This becomes forward. So you're flying forward, this becomes left, this becomes right. So your pitch is left and right is the same. When you do it with the helicopter, the controls are inverted, so you have to get used to flying with inverted controls. With this, the controls stay the same, so you don't have to hassle with the inversion and all the controls being backwards. It has these props that are made so that it is a true 3D device where the props are equal on both sides. So when it flips, the props spin in the opposite direction and it maintains that height. And I will show you that when we get to the outdoor flight review. This controller is okay. I mean, it's small. What I do is I fly it with the Devo. It's deviated, so I fly it with the Devo 7, and I use this switch to control the flips. And I usually set it for 180 degrees for the flips. This controller gets about 30 meters, about 100 feet control distance. This controller, depending on the modification you do, can get up to 50 meters. And at 30 or 50 meters, this becomes just a dot in the sky. It's so small. It has an inverted flight that I mentioned. When you flip it, everything stays the same as far as this being forward, left, right for the yaw, which is nice. It's easier to fly than the helicopters that have those features. It has headless mode and it has one key return. Those two features I never use. One key return, to really do one key return, you need a GPS quadcopter to do it correctly. With these, it relies on the compass and it's not really accurate. It's lightweight. Let me show you the lights itself. The lights are pretty good on this guy. It's a pretty good night flyer. And they got it right this time. The blue is the front and the red is the back. And they're pretty good lights, especially at night. You can see them very well. What I did is, you can see at this angle, you can see them now. With not having to put this hot glue drop here, when it's at that angle, they're recessed inside of the frame, and you really can't see them. You can't see them at all. So if you put a little drop of hot glue there, you'll diffuse them so you can see them at that angle cleanly. It has battery protection. Comes with a charger. Comes with a spare set of props. You can whoop this if you want to turn it into a FPV device. What I would recommend would be to cut out this canopy and fit your all-in-one camera inside of this canopy. I wouldn't use rubber bands because these props will get in the way of the rubber bands and it will be cumbersome to use. With this as a FPV device, you can fly it with 380s, and it flies with the Hubsan type 380s, the X4 type 380s. You get about 6 minutes with the Hubsan X4 380s. You can fly this guy, since it's so small, in just about every nook and cranny of the house. And it has enough pitch to fight the wind that you can fly it outdoors. And it's neat to fly it outdoors in the park. Fly around all the obstacles and trees of the park. Let's get to the outdoor flight review, and I'll show you the inverted flight and why this thing is so much fun. This is the flight review of the H8-3D by Eachine. Let me power up the quad. Flat level surface. Yeah, flat. Power on the transmitter. Bind it. Okay. Switching to rate 2 because there's a little bit of wind here. Probably about 10-12 mile an hour wind. Let me adjust my hat cam. And away we go. This is the yaw rate on rate 2. This is the pitch. Pretty good pitch. Let's go to rate 3. This is the yaw. Nice fast yaw. Here's the pitch on rate 3. Super pitch. Here's it doing a flip, and it'll do a 180 flip. Now it's flying backward, upside down. If I bring it back, it will come back to me. So if I do another flip, it will flip upright. Flip in the same direction. Really quick. Let's see what the mods and final score for this guy is. Before we do that, let's do a final flip. So it's flying upside down. This is a cool little quad to fly. This is the mods and final score for the Eachine H8-3D. The first mod that I did is I swapped the props so that I can have an orientation. It comes with a set of black props. What I did is I bought a spare set of white props and I put the white props in the front. Something else that I did is I extended the range for the quadcopter, the receiver board in the quadcopter, by putting the antenna through a little hole that I drilled through the canopy. And I also took the transmitter antenna, brought it out and glued it to the top of this, and put it in a line so it's facing the quad. Something else that I did is I dropped a drop of hot glue right here with the LEDs. The LEDs are recessed in the body, and you really can't see them when it's at a straight angle to you. So by putting hot glue here, I'm diffusing the LEDs, which lights up this entire hot glue glob. I did a little orientation tape. I put some white here for the front, and I put some red here for the back. I painted the connector for the polarity. I also put a knot in it, simply because the wire was super long and it would hit the props, constantly hit the props. So by putting this knot in, I shortened the wire up a lot. I fly it with this Devo 7. The reason why I fly it with the Devo 7 is more precise, and I have control of programmability, so I can dial it down or dial it up. This remote is good, works fine, but it's small. It's relatively small for your hands. The biggest problem that I had for this was the motor. This is a replacement motor that I had to take out because the prop was so long and the prop bent. So what I had to do was troubleshoot it, and the way that I troubleshot it was I took the prop itself off, and I put the shaft facing me, and I spun it, and I could see that it was rotating outside. So I knew that the prop shaft was bent. These prop shafts are very long for a direct drive unit like this. Something else that I do is I fly it with these 380s. And these 380s fit in here fine. No problem with fitting the 380s in. They fit fine. When you do FPV, move your FPV IO camera up a little bit. That way you offset the weight of this 380. And I would recommend, if you're flying this FPV style, move the FPV up, fly it with these 380s, and you'll get about 6 minutes of flight time excuse me, with the 380s. My final score for this is a 94. I'm taking 0.6 away because of this shaft problem. I didn't know it was a shaft problem at first. It didn't fly right. It would flip over and do weird things. So I bought a new set of props. I tried props thinking it was a props. No, that wasn't it. Then I discovered the shaft was bent, and you really can't tell by looking at it. You have to put it in and look at it straight on while it's spinning to see that it's not rotating in a circular pattern. It's more of an outside type pattern, or an egg type pattern sometimes. So that's why I'm giving it a 94. I'm taking 0.6 away because of this long shaft, and it has problems maintaining its shape when it crashes. Leave your questions and comments below, and thanks for watching.
Please click on the like button, comment, and subscribe.